on top of having both parents, you had activities to do that kind of help keep you out of trouble.
Facts.
Okay.
Facts. Yeah, always, man. And you know, again,
see, there's a whole circle that comes through. Oh, you only had one parent.
Right.
But she was never home because she worked 3 to 11.
Right.
And you had nothing to do.
Right.
And you didn't have any, like, say hypothetically, you might have had an older brother, but he wasn't really around like that.
Yeah.
So who do you look up to? The guys in the street. Yeah. Oh, so now I'm selling drugs too. Now I'm getting in trouble because there's nothing else to do.
There's nothing else to do.
You had nobody to put you in anything. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, and it just kind of like you just kind of get in where you fit in. You know.
So
what I mean?
would you say like up until we only got to 8th grade so far? Yeah. You stayed out of trouble. You from the hood, but you relatively stayed out of trouble.
For the most part, and you know, just to be fair, going back to what you were saying on that, it's been times where I just been hanging out with my homies. You know what I'm saying? I'm hanging out with my homie. Everyone just hangs out at a certain spot. Like I know if I'm going to go see this person, I'm gonna go over here. In my head, I'm just hanging with my homies, but in real life, it's the set. It's the drug set. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when the cops come, they just going, you know, grab whoever out there.
Right.
You know? So a lot of times it might not even be that you actually doing something. It might just be, you know, you just there.
In the wrong place at the right time.
Wrong place at the right time.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So you graduate from vets. Yeah. By the way, how were you doing in school, like academically?
Academically, I was like a BC student. It wasn't nothing real crazy, but what I would do, though, I would do really good on the end of the year test.
Oh, right. Smash that.
Yeah, I was a BC student by choice because for me, it was always a balance between schoolwork and social life. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I'm like, I put social skills over book smarts my whole life, even to this day.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So for me, it was like, if I could just get a B or a C, keep my mom and them at bay, I can get out here, you know what I'm saying, and do what I really want to do and social, you know, the social
I would do just as good in school to keep my parents off my back, and I could just live and do what I want. Right.
I've been doing that my whole life.
Okay. Yeah. So you get to high school. Where did you go to high school?
So the first half of the first year, I went to Wilson.
Where's Wilson?
East Camden.
Now, for people watching this who don't know, back in the 90s, when you were in high school, there was only 2 main high schools in Camden. You either went to Woodrow Wilson, which was in East Camden, or you went to Camden High, which was in Parkside.
Facts.
Now, what people also don't know is probably maybe like 10, 11 sections of Camden. Yes. Where half of the city goes to one, and half of the city goes to the other. Right. So you went to your neighborhood school. Kids who, per the neighborhood, kids who went to Wilson were from East Camden, basically.
Facts.
East Camden, Kramer Hill,
some parts of North.
Some parts of North Camden, and that was it. And kids who went to Camden High were from Parkside, Pollock, Fairview, downtown.
Yep.
Anything we forgetting?
Nah, I think
that's pretty much. You're right. Okay.
Pretty much it. So I went there, and you know, just to paint the scene, this is the year I'm in class.
Centerville.
Centerville.
Centerville. People, that's Camden High. Got it.
But you know, if you're in class and the windows is open and it's the spring, you hear Flavor in your ear. You know, this is that year. You know, this is when Big first come on the scene. This is when Wu-Tang. This is the year Raekwon dropped 4 Cuban Links the summer before. Right. You know what I'm saying? So music is always kind of paints a picture in terms of it captures time for me. So whenever I think of something, when I have to remember something,
you know what album was out.
I think back to the music.
Right.
Brings me back into what was going on. So it was around that time. Right. I went there just because it was a neighborhood school, but because I ran track, my mom wanted me to run track, and Coach Booker was my one of the guys that was around there. Like, hey, he kind of saw me. Coach Tab was at Wilson, or whatever. So Coach Booker was like, "Yo, come run with us." And Camden High,
he was around AAU, so he saw you run in middle school.
Yeah. I pretty much was recruited to go to Camden High.
Really?
For track. That's why I was there for sure.
Wow. So exactly, and there was a lot of that going on. There's a lot of that going on in the inner city where some kid who goes to X high school is really supposed to be going to Y high school. You're like, yo, how you from Kramer Hill and you go to Camden High? How you from Centerville and you go to Wilson? How? Yeah, there's a lot of that in the inner city, period.
Facts.
Okay.
It was the best thing that happened, though.
So what, Coach Booker talk to your mom? or you?
Well, my mom was a track coach already, so they
and your mom was a track coach.
My mom
wow.
was a track coach, for Camden High, Speed City.
Which means she was a teacher.
She was a teacher as well.
Your mom taught at Camden High?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
When you were there?
No.
Okay.
no.
Luckily for you.
No, yeah. No, my mom been a teacher since like 1984 or something like that.
So you had both parents in the home.
Yeah.
And your mom was a teacher.
My mom was a teacher.
Wow. And a track coach.
And a track coach. Yeah,
wow.
Facts.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the formula.
So how would you describe your overall high school experience?
Fun. I have fun.
Wait. So you went to Wilson for just the first half of 9th grade, and then you went to Camden High the second half of 9th grade, and you finished high school at Camden High? No.
I finished high school at Glassboro High my last year. So, you got to remember back in from 94 to 97, Camden was buck wild. Camden was crazy. Dudes was getting. I remember this one dude killed somebody because. He went into the Chinese store order. They both ordered the same thing, but the second dude took the first dude's order because he thought it was his. He came out and banged him.
Really?
Dudes was getting banged out, real crazy and came for stupid stuff like that. And the people that I was around, when you in Canada, even if, I had good parents and I was, doing my own thing. I wasn't involved in anything illegal, but everyone around me for the most part was doing illegal stuff. It was hard to avoid illegal people. So some of the dudes that I was around are doing multiple are doing life right now.
Right.
Multiple dudes. It's not even just one or two.
How would you say you stayed out of it, or would you say you contributed to your parents? Would you contribute it to you, or both?
Man, a little bit of everything. A little bit of luck, parents. Common sense, street smarts.
Right.
Jumping off the porch early because I did have two parents that worked. So it wasn't like I was baby. You know what I mean?
Right.
So jumping on, like I said, that's why I made a point to say I walked to school from kindergarten, the second day of kindergarten on, because I became more independent, more street smart, and I started to see, okay, you make associations as a kid. It might not be conscious, but you might see so-and-so doing this, so-and-so in jail, so-and-so doing that, so-and-so dead. And it might have an impact where, you making these subconscious decisions without even really thinking about it to say, all right, this is when I slide off.
Right.
I'm around here right now. It's look all good, but I'm going to slide off. You know what I mean? That type time.
So you said after 11th grade you went to Glassboro. How did that happen? Did you run away? Did you? What happened?
I mean, you know how I go. Glassboro. It's still, was that Gloucester County? But it's right
No. I'm saying, how'd you get to Glassboro?
So, when you grow up in Camden, if it costs 50 cents to live in Camden and you get 51 cents, you move somewhere else. I mean, at that time. So, my parents was right on that same type time where they were just like, look, it's getting crazy out here. We made just enough to do something somewhere else. Let's go ahead.
So your family moved. You moved from Camden to Glassboro.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Sure.
And did your senior year at where?
Glassboro High.
Glassboro High School. Okay.
Yeah.
How far is Glassboro from Camden? You're driving.
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay.
15 minutes.
Same world or different world?
Completely different world.
Completely different world.
It's funny though because
describe Glassboro. Describe your 12th grade year.
Here's the thing. Most of my friends was from Camden. Everybody had the same plan. Like if you make a couple dollars,
right.
You can get out.
It's basically families that moved out of the hood. That, quote, made it out the hood.
Right. It made their own hood because Glassboro had his own little hood. They even had their own little projects or whatever, So, but it was nowhere near as violent as Camden was.
Okay.
Nowhere near. Near. So
you didn't have that same, like when you said, even though you was cool with fruit or some people in fruit and you was cool with some people at trade dues, it was always that threat that something could pop off at any second.
It wasn't really.
You didn't experience that in Glassboro.
Well, it could go down anywhere. You know what I mean? You can get shot in Bel Air. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
X-Pop Smoke. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it wasn't as it wasn't as thick. Camden. If I could make an association or like an analogy, it's kind of like when you walk into a room after somebody just had a real heated argument.
Right.
You could feel it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That was Camden 100% of the time.
Okay.
That was Camden. Where here it was like you just walked in a room and it was just your homies was in there. Where it was just like that level of peace.
Got it.
Granted, it still can go left, but it just wasn't it wasn't that thickness in the air. Like
now I remember you telling me years ago when we were still kids You're like, Glassboro, that 12th grade year was the best year of your life. Still facts? Up until that point. Up until
that point. Here's the thing. Because, all right, so you touched on it earlier. Remember you were saying, back in the day, the drug dealers would come through with the cars and all this, that, and the third.
Right.
Once you moved out to the suburbs and and it wasn't really like a survival thing, kids can be kids.
Right.
So now it's more about personality. Okay. Now it's more about, if you like a halfway decent looking dude, it ain't really about like, hey, listen, you ain't gonna eat tonight. Come kick it with me. I got 4 chicken wings and rice over here. Come holler at me. It's not that no more.
Right.
I mean? It's a whole different energy over there. So when I got over there, it was just more so people just living regular life. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, I had a job. Most of my friends had jobs. We had money. People had cars.
You had a job? You remember your first job in high school?
My first job in high school was when I was in Camden, actually. I got that freshman year. I was at McDonald's in Cherry Hill Mall. Upstairs.
Okay. How long were you there?
Until I moved to Glassboro.
So you was at McDonald's for like 3 years. So this would have been from like 95 to 97. 95, 96, and 97.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it was. I guess so. Yeah. Looking back on it, it didn't seem that long, but yeah.
So Glassboro came in 2 different environments. And
it was just a different environment.
So you graduate from Glassboro High School. Let me ask you this question.
What's up?
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst ever and 10 being the best possible, how would you rate your childhood?
10.
10
across the board.
What does a 10 childhood look like and why?
A 10 childhood prepares you for life.
Okay.
Prepares you, after I graduated from high school, I wasn't the what do they call that? Failure to launch kid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I wasn't scared of the world.
Okay.
I wasn't scared to go out. You know what I'm saying? I went out into the world, and not only did I just go out, because I graduated June 19th. I went into the military July 7th.
Wow.
Yeah. 3 weeks, I was about it. I ain't been back yet.
What branch did you pick?
Air Force.
Air Force.
Okay. So I turned 19 in Italy. You know what I mean?
Really?
I turned 20.
So you saw the world.
The whole world, yeah. I've been all over. And not only did I actually did pretty well. Again, based off of the stuff, people would always be like, "Yo, you from Camden? Like, how are you from Camden?"
So let's talk about that. What's your overall perception of how your childhood affected your life?
It really just when it comes to common sense, when it comes to things like the ability to, when it comes to emotional intelligence, when it comes to handling different situations in certain ways,
okay,
I still handle it the same way I've been handling since I was 10, 11, 12, 13 years old.
Okay.
Just a little more savvy, a little more mature with it, but the same basic principles are there. It all come from growing up in Camden, for sure.
Do you have a worst childhood day that you like to forever forget if you could, like just eliminate it from happening?
It would have to do with like the death of a family member or something like that. Like when my grandma died, that was tough. That was hard. And that was when I was like 14.
Okay.
Freshman year.
Okay.
But my grandma had my mom when she was real old. You know what I'm saying? She had my mom when she was like 50.
Okay.
Or close to 50, something like that. So, she was out here when I was like 14. That kind of hit kind of hard because remember when I was in East Camden, I would just either go to one grandma's house, go to the other grandma's house. It was like a whole network or whatever. So that was like the first thing there.
Okay.
But overall, man, I can't really say I had a real bad experience. You know what I'm saying? Other than that.
So let's flip it. Yeah. Do you have a favorite childhood day that if you could, you would like to go back to?
Yeah. I mean, I got a lot, but I'll go for one from real early on. Like my first real early memory. When I was a kid, I want to say this is Christmas 86 or 87.
Okay.
I can't remember whichever one. I was 6 or 7 years old.
Right.
But I remember again, I've always been a hip hop head. This is like when it really started. I'm still really, pretty much a hip hop head to this day.
Okay.
Okay. So that Christmas I ended up getting a Adidas sweatsuit. It was black and white. I got a Run DMC sweatshirt, and I got a boombox, and I got a Beastie Boys and the Biz Markie.
Okay.
So I was an official B-boy when I,
Right.
I was an official B-boy at that time.
Right.
That's like one of my just one of many, but that was a real good memory.
Now you had also mentioned that. Well, let me ask you this: is there anything that happened in your childhood that you feel like affected your life forever, either negatively or positively? I remember you telling a story about how you and your cousin were on Utah.
Oh, I do, yeah.
Utah Street.
Facts. Oh, yeah. So again, I jumped off the porch real early, just out. So when I would get out of school at Kramer, this is like at the same time, 6, 7 years old, I would walk through 1, 2, 3 drug sets to get to my grandma's house.
Right.
Utah happened to be one, and it happened to be like the more dangerous one and the most direct one where I would just come right into contact with these people.
Okay.
So me and my cousin, I bumped into my cousin, and he had it was like random because he don't really be over there like that. So I'm like, what are you doing here? Anyway, long story short, we start walking, we go through the Ave.
Right.
And it's a bunch of middle school kids there, or kids that were just older than us. And this is the height of the crack era.
Right.
So back in the day, you remember when they used to take your hat off and throw it and all this kind of stuff?
Pass it to the next guy. You too short to grab it, and they throw it to the next dude.
Yes. They did that, and my cousin wasn't having it. So I took my hat off. He didn't. He kept it on, and he's younger than me, too. He was about 5.
Right.
They took his hat. He went up to the boy that took his hat. And he didn't jump to get it. He stole them. Boom. Stole on them. Bang.
Okay.
Got it. Just like that. So I was like, oh, Lord. So then we just started rocking with these kids or whatever, right?
Right.
Now, the whole thing might have been about 15 seconds, right? But as a little kid, it seemed like it was a 30-minute, 12-round fight, you know what I'm saying, for us, because we was rocking with big kids.
Right.
Long story short, one of the older dudes came over. He said he made the other kids leave us alone. He got the hat. Gave us our hat back, took some money out, gave us some money, and he looked at the dudes. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something to the effect of, they held it down more than y'all.
Right.
And they little kids or whatever.
Right.
So I remember walking back. When I was a kid, I used to have bloody nose all the time. I was walking back, and my nose was bleeding.
Right.
Walking past the fence with the big dog, that jumping all crazy high.
Okay.
Next thing, and in my head, I was thinking to myself, like, man, it kind of taught me something about life, because even though we lost, we won, because we won the respect of the people there. We won the respect of all the kids there. We won the respect of the OGs. I never had a problem going through there ever again. Nice. So that was a situation that definitely affected me in a positive way.
So the man that you became, all these experiences, like, who are you today, and how would you say your overall childhood made you this person?
Who am I today?
So first of all, what do you do?
Oh man, so I do work in the legal career field. So it's kind of hard to say one thing that I do, because I kind of do a little bit of everything.
You do real estate.
I do some real estate as well, but again, even that comes from the legal aspect of it, because I'm real good with contracts. But
okay.
So I'm a contract manager for an energy company. That's my full-time job.
Okay.
I'm a paralegal in the Air Force still.
Okay.
And I have my own court reporting business.
Right.
So I do all of that. All of that came from, I mean, if I guess I would just say I'm just like a legal hustler. You know what I mean?
Right.
Who am I today? I'm a legal hustler, father.
How many beautiful kids do you have?
I got 3 daughters.
3 daughters.
Yeah,
wow.
3 daughters.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. What are their age ranges?
One's going to be 21 this year. One's 16. The other one is 13.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
What would you say are some similarities and differences between your parenting style and your parents?
I'm definitely like a lot more hands off. Me personally, I kind of play like the what I consider to be like the traditional man role.
Okay.
Where I let the wife take the primary role as the caregiver and all that.
Okay.
And me myself, I'm just the earner. That's all. So I make sure that they have everything that they need and all that type of stuff.
All right. And in conclusion, I want you to give some advice to blank-year-old Sheron. If you could pick any age, what advice would you give that young man, and what would you say to him?
Well, I was 22. 22-year-old Ron, I would say re-enlist on active duty and retire at 38, because I'm 40 right now. I would have been retired 2 years ago. So there you go.
All right, thank you, Sheron. We appreciate having you.
All right, man. Peace.